His name may not be familiar to you, and that makes some abortion opponents angry. This case has suddenly blown up into a political firestorm. Jan Crawford is in Washington. Jan, good morning.
Well, good morning, Charlie. Nora, we want to warn you that some of the details you're about to hear are very disturbing. This week, prosecutors will continue to call witnesses as they seek the death penalty against Dr. Gosnell. So far, several patients and about a half dozen former employees have testified, and there are almost no words to describe their allegations about what happened inside that clinic.
It started 3 years ago as a federal investigation into prescription drug sales. But inside the Philadelphia abortion clinic of Dr. Kermit Gosnell, law enforcement encountered a grisly scene. Last month, the case finally went before a jury.
His abortion clinic, a house of horrors, filled with stray cats and animal waste. 47 fetuses piled into a freezer.
Prosecutors said that routine drug raid was something much more serious.
The doctor, charged in the murder of a woman during a botched abortion, as well as murders of 7 babies born alive.
The allegations stunned the city. An established clinic operating for more than 30 years and drawing patients from across the country was, prosecutors allege, a house of horrors, where Gosnell performed late-term abortions after 24 weeks and murdered babies who survived the procedure. The conditions inside the clinic, graphically detailed in the grand jury report, were squalid. Unsterilized equipment that infected women with venereal disease and untrained workers performing procedures and sedating patients.
The grand jury went to the scene wearing hazmat suits.
Gosnell was the target of multiple complaints to the state medical board, but state officials had not inspected the clinic since 1993. Gosnell, on trial for his life, says he's not guilty.
Dr. Gosnell has
Walt Hunter has covered the case since 2010 for CBS News' Philadelphia station KYW.
There are images and details of this story that I am never going to be able to wash out of my mind.
Hunter broke the original story. He is now covering the trial where clinic employees have begun to testify.
You can look at the skyline of Philadelphia and some of the top medical facilities in the entire country right from the front of that clinic. This was not hidden away.
But outside the state, few have even heard about the allegations against Gosnell because his trial has received little national news coverage. CBS News reported on the story at the time it broke in 2011. Just last week, a column in USA Today accused the media of ignoring the story because what it called a bias in favor of abortion rights. Those charges went viral on Twitter and were picked up by Republicans in Congress.
Will the decades-long national news media cover-up of the brutality and the violence of abortion methods ever end?
Criminal defense attorney William Brennan has been involved in many high-profile trials and even represented Gosnell until the drug case became a murder case.
A case involving a medical doctor charged with 8 counts of murder. It would seem to me that just that fact pattern would make national news.
But looming over this trial is, of course, the debate over abortion rights. Opponents say it illustrates the brutality of abortion and how it's taking a human life, while supporters of abortion rights who have condemned Dr. Gosnell say it highlights the need for clean, safe places for women to have legal abortion. Charlie and Nora.
Jan Crawford, thanks. CBS News legal analyst Jack Ford is with us. Jack, good morning.
Charlie, good morning to you.
Obviously, this case is stirring a lot of political controversy, a lot of controversy online. What's it really about legally?
Yeah, as Jan mentioned, all of this is circling around at the pro-choice, pro-life battle. But inside of the courtroom, it's not about that. This is not a battle about those particular abortion fights. It's really a murder trial. It's in some ways, people look at it and say it sounds almost as if it's a medical malpractice case, but it's far more serious than that, because the prosecution is saying, look, deplorable conditions, type of things you could argue about in a medical malpractice case, but they're saying it's much more than that because they claim he actually took the lives of 7 babies that were born viable, functioning, and that he ended their lives. And with regard to the one woman involved, they're saying that his treatment was so grossly reckless that, again, much more than malpractice, but actually criminal. They're charged with murder, third-degree murder. So you're looking at here, in a situation, as Jan described, where the conditions were horrendous, you're looking at the possibility of a death penalty because of the fact that you have allegations of 7 murders and an 8th.
The grand jury report is so incredibly gruesome, and is why we did not share details in there. What's his defense?
Well, it's an interesting defense. The defense is saying, first of all, I didn't do this. So these allegations that I literally ended the lives of 7 babies that were born alive, I did not do that. With regard to the death of the woman, it was a terrible accident, but again, I'm not a criminal. And the claim is, look, this may well be a horrible facility, but that's not enough, this is what the defense is saying, for him to be determined to be a criminal.
And then how is it that there's not been any oversight or not been any inspection since 1993? That doesn't seem to make sense.
That's very troubling. There are a lot of things that are very troubling coming out of this, and one of them, and people have argued, you know, if this is a high-end medical facility, would people have been inspecting it? But because it's a facility that serves people on the low end of the economic spectrum, the argument is there's another illustration of people are just sort of allowed to let slide in the healthcare system.
Many of the clients were young, poor, illegal immigrants, others going there. Jack Ford, thank you very much.
All right,